In a country mapped by satellites and governed by law, some people still vanish without a trace. Their stories leave no answers, just abandoned homes, silent radios, and cold trails swallowed by time. These aren't urban legends, they're real cases, rooted in documented fact, but steeped in mystery. From vanished colonies to modern-day disappearances, each story echoes the same haunting question. How does someone disappear in plain sight? Let's begin where it all began, with a colony that left behind nothing but a single word carved in wood. The Lost Colony of Roanoke, North Carolina, 1587. In 1587, over 100 English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. When their governor, John White, returned from a resupply mission 3 years later, the entire colony had vanished. No bodies, no signs of struggle, only the word Croatoan carved into a post. The nearby Croatan tribe claimed no knowledge of the settlers' fate. Theories range from starvation and disease to assimilation or massacre, but no definitive evidence has ever surfaced. Archaeological digs continue, yet none have revealed what happened. The site is now protected, but visitors still walk among eerie outlines of buildings that once held an entire population. Roanoke wasn't just America's first attempt at colonization, it became its first great mystery. More than 4 centuries later, it remains a cautionary tale of how an entire society can vanish without a trace. Now, from colonial ghosts to a writer who disappeared in the desert without a goodbye. Ambrose Bierce, Mexico, 1913. Ambrose Bierce was a well-known American journalist, satirist, and Civil War veteran. At 71, he left his San Francisco home in 1913, traveled to Mexico, and vanished. Bierce claimed he was going to observe Pancho Villa's revolution. His last known letter, dated December 26th, said, "As to me, I leave here tomorrow for an unknown destination." After that, nothing. No remains, no reports, no confirmed sightings. Some believed he was executed by rebel forces. Others thought he took his own life. Despite multiple investigations, no official record of his death has ever been found. His disappearance is especially haunting because it mirrors the grim themes in his own stories: war, death, and the unknowable. Today, he's more famous for how he vanished than how he lived. Ambrose Bierce didn't just fade from history, he walked into it, leaving behind only questions and his eerie final words. Next, a quiet Christmas Eve turned into a firestorm of unanswered questions. The Sodder Children, West Virginia, 1945. On Christmas Eve, 1945, a fire consumed the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The parents and 4 of their children escaped, but 5 children, ages 5 to 14, were never seen again. Authorities blamed the fire, yet no remains were found in the rubble. Even stranger, no smoke smell woke the family. The phone line had been cut, and a ladder usually kept against the house was missing. The family believed the children had been kidnapped, and the fire staged to cover it up. Sightings of the children were reported across the country for years. The Sodders even put up a billboard with their faces, offering a reward. FBI and local investigations went nowhere. In 1967, they received an anonymous photo believed to be one of the missing boys, now grown. Still, no identity was confirmed. Today, the Sodder case is one of America's most baffling and heartbreaking family mysteries. Now, from family tragedy to 5 Navy aircraft that vanished into blue skies. Flight 19, Atlantic Ocean, 1945. On December 5, 1945, 5 Navy Avenger bombers departed from Fort Lauderdale for a training mission. Their leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported compass malfunctions and disorientation. His final transmission said, "We are entering Whitewater, nothing seems right." Radio contact was lost. The Navy launched a rescue mission, but that plane vanished too. No wreckage from Flight 19 or the rescue aircraft was ever found. The incident became the cornerstone of the Bermuda Triangle legend, though skeptics point to pilot error and poor weather. Still, the fact remains. 14 airmen disappeared, followed by 13 rescuers, 31 men gone without a trace. Official reports listed cause unknown. The planes, bodies, and answers remain submerged in one of aviation's most persistent enigmas. Even with modern sonar, Flight 19 has never been recovered. The ocean still holds its silence. Let's move from the skies to one of America's most famous missing men, Jimmy Hoffa, Michigan, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa was the powerful president of the Teamsters Union with deep ties to organized crime. On July 30th, 1975, he was last seen outside a Detroit area restaurant, supposedly waiting for two mafia contacts. He never returned home. His car was found in the parking lot, but Hoffa was gone. Theories include a mob hit, a secret burial beneath stadiums or freeways, and even cremation at a mob-connected funeral home. Multiple tips and deathbed confessions have led to excavations, but nothing has ever been found. The FBI considers the case still open, and Hoffa was declared legally dead in 1982. To this day, no one has been charged. Hoffa's disappearance became a cultural phenomenon, referenced in films, books, and music. But beneath the speculation lies a simple truth. One of the most powerful men in America vanished, and no one can prove where, how, or why. From high profile to haunting, 3 women vanished in the middle of a peaceful town. The Springfield Three, Missouri, 1992. On June 7th, 1992, friends Susie Streeter and Stacy McCall returned to Susie's home after graduation celebrations. Susie's mother, Cheryl Levitt, was also there. The next morning, all 3 women were gone. Their purses, keys, and cars were still at the house. Nothing was stolen. The front porch light was broken. There were no signs of forced entry or struggle. Police found no suspects, despite hundreds of leads. Rumors swirled, from human trafficking to a serial killer, but no theory has held. The case remains open with no evidence and no bodies. Locals refer to it simply as the Springfield Three. Their photos still hang in police stations, and candlelight vigils are held every year. It's as if they were lifted out of their lives in an instant. A celebration turned into silence, and decades later, their disappearance still casts a shadow over Springfield. Now to a call in the dark and a young man who vanished mid-sentence. Brandon Swanson, Minnesota, 2008. On May 14, 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson called his parents around 2 a.m. after his car got stuck on a rural road near Marshall, Minnesota. As they spoke, he suddenly said, "Oh, shh," and the line went dead. His car was later found in a ditch, but no trace of Brandon was ever discovered. Extensive searches turned up nothing. Dogs tracked his scent to a stream, but it disappeared. Authorities suspect he may have fallen into the river and drowned, but no body was found. The terrain was flat and open, offering few places to hide. His phone remained active for days, but went unanswered. Brandon's law was passed in his name, requiring police to act faster in missing adult cases. But his own case remains unsolved. It's as if the night swallowed him whole, leaving behind only a disconnected phone call and a town forever wondering what happened. Next, a college student vanishes from inside a bar with no camera catching him leave. Brian Schaffer, Ohio, 2006. Brian Schaffer was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University. On April 1st, 2006, he was out with friends at a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloon. Security footage captured him entering, but never leaving. Cameras covered all exits, including the rear service entrance. But Brian simply vanished. His wallet, phone, and bank account were untouched. Police ruled out foul play, but couldn't explain the lack of footage. The building had no secret exits. Theories include misidentification on tape, foul play inside the bar, or that he somehow disguised himself to leave unnoticed, but none hold up under scrutiny. His apartment showed no signs of planning or packing. To this day, the case remains one of the most baffling modern disappearances. A man walked into a crowded space, never walked out, and left behind no trace, not even on camera. For investigators, it's a riddle with no pieces. And now, a case that began at school and never found its way home. Kyron Horman, Oregon, 2010. On June 4th, 2010, 7-year-old Kyron Horman was dropped off at Skyline Elementary in Portland, Oregon. He was last seen at a school science fair around 8:45 a.m. By that afternoon, he was missing. The school never recorded him as absent. His backpack and coat were left in the classroom. Hundreds of volunteers and law enforcement officers searched the surrounding woods, rivers, and properties. No trace was found. Suspicion quickly turned to his stepmother, who was the last known person to see him, but no charges were filed. The case remains active and unsolved. It's the largest missing child investigation in Oregon's history. For his family, every year is another without closure. Posters with Kyron's face still appear across the Pacific Northwest. A small child, frozen in time, smiling for a school photo that should have led to a normal day, not a lifelong mystery. now, from a child who vanished in daylight to a young woman who disappeared on a quiet highway. Maura Murray, New Hampshire, 2004. On February 9, 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray crashed her car on Route 112 in rural New Hampshire. A passerby offered help. She declined. By the time police arrived, she was gone. Her car was locked, wallet missing, and there were no footprints in the snow leading away. She had withdrawn money that day and sent an email to her professors saying she was taking time off due to a death in the family. There was no such death. Her behavior in the days prior was erratic, suggesting stress or a secret plan, but no signs of foul play or suicide were ever found. Despite national media attention, police dogs, drones, and cadaver searches, Maura's case remains unsolved. Some say she ran away, others suspect abduction. But like so many before her, Maura stepped off a road and into mystery, leaving behind only questions and a car on the side of a highway. Disappearance leaves no trail, only echoes. These cases aren't cold, they're haunted, because what's most terrifying isn't how they vanished. It's that we still don't know if they're truly gone.